All right, first question on the worksheet was, what is a presentation file typically used to create? And I gave you the answer actually already, kind of alluded to it. It's going to be an exploded view. So you had this assembly, you had all these different parts. And then we spent a whole bunch of time putting them together. It took a little while. You guys did a whole bunch of different work. You hit all these constraints. Every part had to have 3 constraints, and you had to tie down each one of the different parts. Well, now we're just going to blow it back up again. Okay, so we're going to use an exploded view to do that. Now, that presentation file really could actually be something else too. So if you remember the other day, we set up that angle constraint so that the top of the box animated, or you were able to drive that one constraint so the box rotated up. We could actually change that animation a little bit, so instead of maybe the lid coming off of the box like it does, which I'm not really crazy about, instead of the lid coming off of the top of the box, maybe the box lid rotates up and then all the pieces just come out. And that would show the case in a more functional way. Alright, but basically, regardless, your presentation file most of the time is going to be an exploded view. Sometimes it's going to be like something operational. Maybe you have a motor and you want to actually show it running. You want to show a cycle. Alright, maybe use a section view where you cut into it. You can actually see the piston move up and down, and you can see the valves open or something like that. You can do animations like that too. Okay? Alright, anyway, next item on your worksheet. Alright, what is an exploded view? So we use the exploded view term in the definition up here, but we don't necessarily understand exactly what it is. Let's just formalize that really quick. So an exploded view is a drawing that shows the relationship between various parts. So it's a drawing that shows the relationship between various parts. I should probably spell various correctly. Drawing that shows the relationship between various parts. Alright, so in the animation that I just showed you, we had starting position, and then as we animate everything out of here, right, each of the pieces are coming out of the board. They're moving off to the side, just so you can see where everything goes in relationship to each other. So that's an exploded view. Okay? Next question is, what is the only file type that can be placed into a presentation file? So let's actually use this as the basis for our demo. So what I want you to do is I want you to just go to your File tab, and you can click on the New button, and I want you to go down until you see the word Presentation. Okay, so you can do this with me right now if you're ready to do so. Alright, so File, New, Presentation. Alright, and then the first thing that pops up is the computer's asking you to insert or import a file type. Now I'm looking right here, it says the only file type that I can bring in is a .iam file. Okay, so what is that? That's an assembly, right? So that was what we made when we put all the parts together. That was called an assembly. So the only type of file that I can bring into a presentation file is an assembly. So the computer is really not going to let you explode one part. It's not going to explode, but it'll explode an assembly, a collection of parts. Alright, so I'm just going to go back over here and put that down. So assemblies, or .iam files. Those are synonymous. Alright, so all we have to do back over here is locate our file folder that I think we put in the documents folder called CAD. And then inside CAD, I think we had a puzzle folder. Alright, so go ahead and locate your assembly file that you made. And do the same thing. It's a slightly different drive location, so I'm just going out here and doing that. But you have to find your assembly file. So I have one that's called puzzle case. I got another one that was like step 1 of the puzzle case. I'm just going to put the good one in there. And it says, what are the rules for creating an exploded view? So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start moving pieces out. Okay, so we're going to do this thing that Inventor calls tweaking components. Alright, so you don't have a ton of presentation tools here, and I'm a little bit rusty. I had to kind of dig for this for a second. Alright, but the tweak components tool, it's right up here under your presentation tab. Alright, tweak components. And basically it just lets you like move or rotate a part. There's a couple different ways that you can work with an object, either globally or locally. Couple different selection tools. I wouldn't mess with that stuff much at all. Alright, so I'm going to cancel that for a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to mess with my case. I know that in the video they showed you like the case lid coming off. Let's not really mess with that too much. Let's just take one of the parts out. So if we hit tweak components and we pick one of those parts, alright, what I should be able to do is I should just be able to grab along an axis handle, alright, and I can move some of these components out. And as I do that, the computer is actually recording on a timeline. Okay, so that's already taking place for me. Alright, so here's the rules, okay? We want to pull it apart like it would go together. That's going to be rule number 1. So what are the rules for creating an exploded view? We want to pull it apart like it would go together.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
Could you please slow it down, please?
I'm recording the whole thing, so if you miss something, you can go back, okay?
Alright, got it.
Alright, yep.
Sorry about
That's
that.
okay, no problem. Alright, so let's go back and look at that one more time. I'm going to hit undo and just kind of go back here, and we'll watch that one more time. So I have a whole bunch of different parts that have to come out of the puzzle box. So I'm going to click Tweak Components, and we have like a little 3D axis here. Alright, so as long as I pay attention to which direction on that, then I'm going to move, the computer's automatically recording that for me. Okay? If I was going to move this T shape in another direction here, like as a secondary part of this move, I can just click Tweak Components again, and then we can move it in a different axis. And when we're done with that, you can hit the little green check mark over here to keep it. Alright, and then you have play controls on the bottom of the screen. You can either like grab your time slider and you can scrub your animation so you can see where it's going to go. Alright, or you have a play forward button. It's going to play it in normal animation play mode, like forward in time, or you can actually play it backwards in time, so you can record from your most recent frame back in time. Alright? So that's like one part. Okay, so if I'm watching my time slider, as I'm back here at 0 frames, everything's put together. I get to like 5 frames here into the future. It's actually in seconds. So we'll say seconds, 5 seconds into your animation. That's where we're at right there. Now I'll go to another part and we'll start pulling another piece out. Okay, but you want to start your animation from where you left off because everything needs to kind of be consecutive. Alright, so here we'll go to another piece, just making sure I start my animation at 5 seconds. I'm going to hit Tweak Components again. And I'm just going to pull I'm just going to pull this one up, and we'll move it over. I'm going to hit the little green check mark to record that. And if we go back in time real quick, I'm playing it backwards. This would be like the whole thing coming together. If I play it forward in time, it's everything coming apart. But it's going to lead us to the second rule for creating an exploded view. And that is that I don't want all my different pieces here all clustered together so I can't see them. So right now, from the view that we're looking at, this is like my good, true orthographic view. It's like my home view. Okay? Let's just say I want to see this rendered out from your home view. I don't want to see a part overlapping another part. Got it? And this is what I mean, right? So this would be a bad example. Ready? This would be like I take this little L-shaped piece and we move it over here so it's in the same exact spot as another one. Right? Or it's like overlapping so you can't see another piece. That would be no good. So we would hit the cancel button there. Right? Or undo and go back. So where this piece should really move to, it should just kind of move up so it comes out of the box and then move off to the side. And it could just sit out here in 3D space where it's all by itself, all right, and it's not in the way. So rule 2 would be never overlap parts when viewed in an isometric. So this is my isometric view, all right, and I'll just go back and type that up because I know that that's a big sentence. So never overlap parts when viewed in an isometric. All right, and then last question, I'm pretty sure is obvious here. Can a presentation file be animated?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm putting an exclamation point. Yeah, it could be animated. So we'll leave that up here on the side here for a second for people that need it. But we're making an animation. Okay, so this is an animation. You're pulling all of the different parts out of your case. All right, you're exploding everything. All right, and when you're done, you have the option to publish it. So right up here as a video file, we can publish this, and the computer is going to actually like just go ahead and save that as either an AVI, which is a movie file, or a WMV, which is like an older movie file format. I would stay with just an AVI. All right, so you can render it out as an AVI. The computer wants to know where you want to save things to. Okay? I've asked you so far to save everything to your documents folder. Do you remember me saying something like that?
Yeah.
This is the exception. You also have a videos folder. Alright, so on your computer there's a videos folder. It's right in here on your PC that you guys use. There's a videos folder, so use your videos folder. Just keep everything in your videos folder. Alright, especially when it's a video file. Alright, and then you can name it. You can call it Exploded Puzzle Case. Alright, and if you want to render that out, it'll take a minute. The computer's going to like have to do a bunch of math, figure out what that looks like. We'll let that finish just so we can go back and we can watch it here in a second. As soon as this is done, I can go back and I can check my videos folder, and I should have a lot of videos in my videos folder. Should have a little exploded view animation that we can watch. So let's just check that out really quick. Yep, there it is. So it's just a movie we can go back and we can watch. And there's some other settings that you can set up as far as like the look of that video, but that's basically where we're at. Okay? So you guys have some time to work on that. The assignment that was posted up on Classroom as of right now is follow along with the notes for the lesson, so you should have taken notes hopefully, and then create an exploded view of your assembly drawing. Okay, you got time to work on that today. I'll give you some time to work on that tomorrow as well. and